you said, oh, it's not possible to understand what is God over a conversation.
Yes.
Right. And I said, it is possible if your mind is not racing, if you're still listening to me just as the way you've been listening all this while. Okay. Let's see your mind. In your mind, what is racing really? What is it?
Arising right now, you mean?
No. When you say your mind is in movement, what is in the mind that's in movement? Let's say some particles.
Yeah.
Right? Let's assume for now, even though I said there are no particles. But let's assume there are particles that are moving.
Thoughts are coming.
Correct. Thoughts are coming, and let's assume if there is movement, that's matter. Right?
Yeah.
Matter is what is in a state of movement.
Yes.
So there is matter that you are identifying with. That's what is your experience of thought.
Yes.
That there is something that moved and you identified with it, you connected with it.
If you connect, then you are in the loop. I mean,
yeah, now that wave you have latched onto, now that wave is moving, it's not yours. It got formed and it has its own movement, it has its own energy. You have latched onto it. Now it's going to move, it's going to do its thing.
That's why it's so important to observe. So if you just observe what is coming, then you are able to take distance.
Right.
And then make a new choice, a different one.
Right, absolutely. So let's say if you throw a stone in a pond of water, the ripples will be something like this.
Yes.
And then they'll become flatter. And at that one point they will be absolutely flat. Zero.
With this it's better. With this example it's better.
Yeah. So I'll give it all. When there is a suitable vessel to put something in, then us become children. That's how excited I am to express it. So imagine you were riding on the wave of the mind or that water. You had to do nothing. You had to just ride it, latch on to that thought. And when it completes itself, it will become flat. So when it is flat and at the point of origin, aren't they exactly the same?
Yeah, in a way, yes.
They are the same. Forget about the stone dropping, because then we'll question eventually, where did the stone drop come from? But for now, we assume the stone was dropped in a pond of water and a ripple happened. Now, when it was still, when there was no stone dropped in a pond of water, what that source was is exactly what the source is when it's flat. Exactly the same, correct?
Yes, correct.
So, the material which has taken the form of the wave is also exactly that which is the source.
Yes, it's the same.
Right?
Yeah.
So if there is nothing which is God, you have been to the ashram of the gentleman who agrees with this, that there is nothing which is God. Islam is all about that, boundless, formless, shapeless, colorless God. So if there is nothing fundamentally and there are waves on top, there must also be nothing. Now this is the difficult part to get your head around. So I'm dropping it here on video so people come back on comments to question this. So are you suggesting there's nothing in the universe? Then why are we seeing this reality? I want people to ask these questions. But anyway, now let's say you were to write something. You would need you were a teacher in a class and you were writing something on the blackboard. And then the new teacher comes and I'm the student. I'm sitting there. The new teacher comes without erasing it, writes further on it. The new teacher comes without erasing it, writes further on it. Anyway, for something to be written, it needs a base to be written on.
Yes.
Right? So if there is movement on anything, it needs its base.
That must be clean.
That must be clean, otherwise it's going to be clutter, meaning anxiety, depression, stress. So it must be clean. We'll come to later.
Empty.
Yeah, we'll come to later on. Our question is telling you what is God over conversations. perhaps not conversations, in this conversation itself. So imagine that in order to write something, in order to have anything be experienced or be made to be meaningful, you need a base upon which it is written. And that base looks like is the opposite. For black to have meaning, white must be there. Otherwise, if everything was black, it would have had no meaning. So that polarity is very important for any meaning. So in life, our mind is clearly having meaning. It is able to have meaning of things. So there must be some polarity somewhere. Of course, we understand everything in relation to the other, right? It is all relative. Who is rich is relative. Who is good is relative, right? Everything is relative. So, in relation to something else, can meaning be established? To what else? Actually, the opposite. Relation to the opposite can meaning be established. 0 and 1 are polarities. Black and white are polarities. Paper and pen are polarities. One is still. Its stillness is rendering it the quality.
Is the basis.
Yeah, the stillness of it is the key thing here. It is the stillness of the paper that is rendering its quality, that something could be written on it.
Yeah.
Right? So something that is moving must be moving on something that's opposite, something that is not moving.
That's why you get the best intuition when you have silent in your mind, or after a while that you are focused. Then only these things can come actually.
Yeah. When you are, focus is you latching onto a wave. Now let the wave do its thing, it will stop. Like music. When music stops, you will vanish. Like music vanished. That should really happen to people when they are listening to music, when they are dancing. So you're dancing, music is on. Happens to me when music is on, I'm dancing. When music stops, I go down on the floor and I'm just, happens to me. When you came, I was sitting exactly like that.
Yeah.
I was just, for a long time, I was just still. So this stillness is the realm on which the movement is. So the movement is this also, this table. It is matter. The movement, the thought, anything that is establishing experience is matter. It's got movement. So you are having a thought, you are having an experience. It's a movement, and movement is on something which is not movement. So we have to understand what is this that's not movement. We have understood the wave, and we have to understand what is it moving on.
Yeah, but how this can change my experience of life by
Yeah. Good. That's your second question, so I'll get to that also. Otherwise, there's no utility to understanding God.
Yeah.
Sure. So now, we'll first address God. What is God? So now,
it's a white paper.
Is a white paper. That's how I have defined it in one of my podcasts. It is the white paper. It is the non-benevolent white paper.
We are the pen.
Huh?
We are the pen.
We are the pen. Yeah, makes sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
And it will become, for others who it is still not made, or who have deeper curiosity, there should be a question that when I'll say, you will wonder, you will be thankful that I expressed it on video further. The question should be that, okay, fine, fair enough, then what is God here? I mean, how this paper is creating the pen, the ink, how is it creating that ink? If it is something that's not moving, that is non-movement, how does it create anything? Meaning it's not there, it's not there, then something that's not there, how does it create anything? So then I say, just observe your mind, and that's all one should do. The children of the world need to be taught only one thing in schools and colleges, and that is know the mind.
Know the mind.
Yeah, just know your mind, that's all. And in order to know the mind, you'll have to look at the movement of the mind. And people should be trained to do that. I think that is what meditation was about. It was about going into your thought. It wasn't anti-thought phenomena.
And just to observe.
Yeah, and like with full commitment, not fighting it, not considering it a hassle. It's a movement, like any other move. You would have walked to comfort yourself.
And as it came, it will also go.
You
let it flow.
Yeah.
Without so the only things that we have to do is do nothing.
Yeah, no, do nothing if you're on wave, which is moving, your
Yeah.
nothing would not appear to be sitting.
No,
You will be
not when
moving,
you are
but
stopped, but yeah, when you are.
no, you will be moving. To others, it would feel like you are moving, but the truth is you have been moved. So everything that I am doing, you are doing. We are being moved.
Yes.
We are not moving.
Yes, exactly.
So
Yes.
doing nothing.
Definitely.
Those who are able to achieve the state of doing nothing will surrender themselves to the wave of the cosmic ocean, and they will be seen moving like I am, but tirelessly moving, because I am not making that effort to move.
Yes.
I am that, riding on that wave which was me for me.
And it's also not under your control, this wave.
This wave
is
no,
there.
this wave is there.
The
Yes.
journey.
Yeah. This wave is not under my control. All I can do with my free will is to surrender myself to the wave. And to surrender oneself to this subtle aspect of life would not be as easy as dancing to some music or some ritual.
Just takes time.
Takes time. One has to
with
understand.
experiences.
Yeah.
Only living life, only experience,
Yes,
everything what we
yes.
want to experience can bring us to understand this.
Yes, and with this kind of a video by one side, one would understand better through their life experiences that, oh, this aspect of my life experience is non-matter and this aspect is matter. I am seated in non-matter actually. It's the matter which is leaving its impression on this base. That's why I'm having an experience. But I am this base. I am not this movement on top. This would become clear to people. They will observe as child their mind. What was the mind doing? Mind, anything in front of the mind, any conscious experience the mind had, it immediately wanted to create identification. It wanted to have identification of that.
Get attached. Because gives
to know
security.
what it was,
That's it.
Yeah, if there is this, then you want to know what this is. That's what the mind has been of a child, breaks it open, touches it, feels it, is inquiring about it. That's what the mind is. But you grow and you realize that the degrees that we are acquiring, college education degrees, or the cars we are driving, we are still doing it to give ourselves identity in relation to society. So mind is always functioning to give itself identity. But the mind has concentrated itself only the outer realm of material, so it's identifying itself as some matter, and you are some matter. In order to be attractive to you, the man would identify himself, and vice versa for the woman. So it is the other that we are observing, but again for our own identity. The Mercedes we are buying is again for our own identity. So mind, the moment it was nothing, it wanted to have identity of something. It had nothing out there, so it created the opposite. So now it can know itself, and the mind creates the dream. We can see it. It does it seamlessly. So is the non-matter mind of God. When there was nothing, it had the ability to create a dream. Because it was singular, it had no.
But not always. Not all the dreams are like that, actually.
Yeah, not all the dreams, but I'm not taking you to the world of dreams. I'm only taking you to the capability of mind. I'm saying that the mind is this emptiness which is alive. There is nothing that is dead in the universe. The assumption that the life is here or there is wrong. It is life that is fundamental. The fundamental quality is of life, but that quality comes from the aspect of emptiness. If you observe what is this emptiness that I'm talking about, you'll realize, oh yeah, it would have life. And that's what I'm trying to tell now. That you have your mind, and that's why human possibility is this, that it can understand it. You have your mind, you know that there's some processing that happens here, some realm here, where some processing is happening. You can feel it, okay, there is biology, but there are psychedelic experiences and there are other worldly experiences which go beyond the bodily matter form of the brain. It feels like there's something more there. Now, when you see that this emptiness has some quality that it is able to visualize, it is able to give meaning, which is called perspective, to each their own. It's not some robotic mechanism, same for everyone. To each their own. There is some fluidity in this space. What is this space able to create? This space is able to create a thought from nothing at all, from absolute nothing. It is able to create the thought. The mind is constantly doing this in our lives.
Yes.
from nothing, from absolute vacuum. And scientific experiments, I think, are showing that vacuum has fluctuations always. There is from random event of matter's birth in vacuum. And that's what I'm saying, that singular non-matter stage when mind has nothing opposite to look at. It is bored. Imagine the mind. I could have just completely been still as still I was sitting there. But I was bored. Then I saw you and I thought, this is that your company is better than just being still. I was still because there was not another melody that I would have enjoyed. So I realized mind only wants to have fun. So the mind, when it's singular, when it doesn't have the opposite, then it's bored. So it creates something. It creates
Constantly,
a dream.
actually.
Huh?
Constantly.
So that's what God did. Created a dream. And that dream was a wave. And like our dreams, wave. But waves are real. They make us manifest. Someday Steve Jobs had the wave of a phone. Then it became the phone. Someday I had the wave of this desire to express truth to people. Now the Grantham.in is happening. But it was a wave. It was definitely not particular.
It's coming from this.
Yeah, it wasn't defined as an object.
No.
Actually, there are no particles, but we'll address that later on. But this flow would have finished that story also. Why there are no particles? Only for interfacing we see particles. Like on computer, there is current. You won't be able to interface with current. That's why you've given it icons. So you and I are only icons. So we can interact with each other. Otherwise, that wouldn't have been possible. So the wave that got created from its origin, from vacuum, which is happening constantly all over the universe, at every speck of universe. So the wave happened, that's the wave we are latching on. These are the waves that are thoughts. They are happening and we are latching on. Why are we latching on to them? Resonation. The frequency of that wave and this wave is the same. That's why they come together.
Yeah, we talk in a very good way about this.
Sorry?
Young, the psycho... No, you don't know, Carl Gustav Jung.
Right, I don't know what he has to say.
So he's also saying that there is this kind of individual mind,
right,
and also a bigger mind that just it's like mind as a kind of form, also a vibration as well, and you're do the same.
Right.
So there is the individual one, but also when they come together, there is a bigger net.
Right.
Created by all the human beings.
Right.
So usually, also we have the tendencies to get attached to some thought process because they are already very powerful in the big line.
Yeah. And what can we do about it if it is the same frequency as us? For example...
So this is the problem, because many people are into the big one. They don't have anymore the capacity to, push themselves out of that. So let's say there is the fear about a war here. Okay, maybe a war is not a good example.
Why not?
Yeah,
that is a fair for...
Maybe it's not true, and maybe it will never happen, but we all have this fear. Then we live not in a good way our life, and maybe this war will never happen,
Right.
No, I lost the point, I'm sorry.
No problem. But I do get the drift of what you're trying to say. At least I was telling you that the thoughts that we latch onto, we don't have a choice there because it's about resonation. We are a certain frequency. I was becoming a certain frequency when I became a man who could focus on things and be determined and unwavered. So if my frequency was changing because of that, and one day it became that which is the frequency of truth, the knowledge of the universe. One day it became that and it came true. It just connected because of resonation.
Yeah.
Because in an orchestra.
So that's why we have to keep ourselves clean, because in this way we can resonate with the good one and not with the
absolutely,
like
absolutely,
fear or
absolutely, and that would be seated in God, because that emptiness is God. That God created a wave, and that wave became so fractally colorful and so complex that it has created these frequencies and these shapes and forms. But that's it. From God's perspective, it's a dream. A dream of totality, the impression of all vibration. But for us, our vibration is leaving its impression on small portion of God. That's Atma, that's soul, that is our soul. The range of our vibration falling on God, that is our soul.
Nice.
Yeah. All souls are through these vibratory realms connected. That is Paramatma.
Paramatma.
Yeah, Paramatma, like the main soul, the key soul.
Yeah,
But that itself is not God.
it's what
This-
Yang is saying.
Right,
It's this.
wow,
It's the
awesome.
same thing. What you are saying is the same thing that Carl Gustav Jung is saying.
Wow.
All the soul together create this.
Right.
How you call it?
Yeah. What I can say is that we are small consciousnesses, and that is super consciousness.
Yes.
And it's like this, if there was a fabric, and if I, for example, you see a guitar string, if I move it here, the entire string is going to have its impact, right? So it is like an arrangement of strings, and if you move something here, like a bed sheet, then the wave is going to travel and have its impact. So it's all connected. It's absolutely connected.
Sutta.
Hmm?
Sutta.
Yeah, sure. Did you understand what I said about the non-benevolent, empty God? The quality of emptiness is what we haven't gotten into, but we'll do it in another video. I think you want to take a break, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. But I'm saying that God is absolute emptiness, the state of nothing, and no one has. We have all used the word nothing, but we do not know what is nothing. Just imagine what is nothing. Imagine that, and then you'll start understanding what is the quality that would be in nothing. That quality is with God.